Coming up this afternoon, Interior Minister suspends all active gun licenses issued in Ghana and orders fresh screening of all holders as the government moves to tighten gun control.
Also, Adenta Circuit Court remands 9 suspects over Kwabenya shooting incident, which has left former Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoa-Safo seriously injured.
Later this hour, Cape Coast municipal authorities begin demolition of unsafe structures after deadly floods claim 18 lives. Welcome to News Central live on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amano.
And I am Mawina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. This afternoon, all active firearm licenses in Ghana have been suspended with immediate effects. That's according to the Minister of Interior, Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak. It follows what he said was the use of firearms to commit suicide by 3 affluent persons in Ghana in the last 3 months. The minister also stated that all firearm holders are therefore required to undergo fresh mental health screening and training in firearm usage before their licenses are renewed. The ministry had earlier withdrawn the operating license of private security company Kanchanka Security Services in relation to the shooting incident last Sunday at the residence of Israel Kojo Safwa Kofena, which resulted in an injury to former member of parliament for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Adwoa-Safo. Let's hear from the Interior Minister.
Remember, the window was not to prosecute you. Come forward, let us know that you are holding it. Then we'll take you through the process and see if you are qualified to be able to hold guns. Then we'll register it for you and give it back to you. Then at least now we have its record. And then we'll register it on our system that now gun with number so and so is with Muntaka. And then we'll hand it over back to you. So because of that, and because we are still going through those processes, you cannot count those one are part of what we'll be destroying. But once you go through and the person is not qualified to hold the gun, you definitely have to add it for destruction. But now we are only dealing with those that have been surrendered, that those individuals do not need them or are not qualified, but the process is ongoing. That's why we are not able to destroy everything unless we are finished with that. So that's the first one. The second one has to do with the re-registration. It's true. So if someone has registered and currently he has an active registration, if he's going to re-register, is he or she going to pay another fee? For this year, you've already paid. You've already paid for 2026. So you are not going to be paying for 2026. But we are now going to add another windows, and these 3 other windows. The mental health, the drug test, and then the training. Obviously, those ones will have to come with some additional costs. But we are even looking through to see what we can do to minimize, because our interest is not the fees. Our interest is the safety. So we are even in the discussion with the police, the Mental Health Authority, and the Narcotics Control Commission to make sure that even if those fees will come, they should be very minimal and should not be punitive or discouraging for people to be able to go through them. So be rest assured, those who have already paid for this year, you are not going to be paying another, fee. But that one will still stand for you, but just the additional actions are those that may require some fee payment. The last question had to do with the festive that is coming. If you heard in the press statement itself, I stated that one of the things that we are doing, that we are engaging traditional authorities to ensure that we are not saying, we know that it's part of our culture. sometimes when we have to do outdooring, we have to do whatever. There are people that are earmarked to do those, firing. We want them to be trained. We want to train them, and we want to be able to know which arms they are using. Because sometimes you go to some of these places, before you realize someone pulls a pump action. We know they don't use pump action for those things. Why is the person using pump action? We want to engage the traditional authority to know such weapons are not for those occasions. But because it has to do with our traditional authorities, it is best you engage them, the regional House of Chiefs, the National House of Chiefs, so you build consensus before. So, but that one, we've already started, because I've been to a number of regions and we engage some of the, the traditional authorities. It is something that we are going to continue vigorously. But for now, we continue to say that firing at all these gatherings are still prohibited. And we want the police to be enforcing it vigorously. And our traditional authorities should bear with us whilst we go through the process of they designating who should be trained, and those persons will be trained. So we all know that when it comes to Aswansi, it is this person who has been designated, who has also been trained to be doing the firing. We've seen instances where in those gatherings, individuals just come, and then before you realize there are stray bullets. It has killed people before, it's injured so many other people, and we want to avoid that to create public safety so that when you dress and you are saying you are going for funeral, at least you should not get to the funeral ground and get shot and killed. If you say you are going for an outdoor or some festive occasion, that's not the place for you to go and receive a stray bullet. That is what we'll be doing with the traditional authorities. I don't know if I've answered your question. Yeah. If there are, yeah.
So that's the minister, the interior minister. I want to connect with my colleague, Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe, who is at this news conference where the minister has been providing a bit more in terms of details. Armstrong, I appreciate you joining us. And so outside of these measures that the minister has announced, he's also been speaking to regulating the use of firearms by traditional authority. What exactly did he say?
Also said that all individual firearms, all licenses granted them have been revoked. All those licenses that given to them have now been revoked, and that everybody would now have to now visit the various regional offices, the police service department to re-register their firearms going forward. Anybody who fails to do that after a 3-month period will be called and the necessary sanctions given them. So basically, that is what the minister spoke about the revocation of all firearms. He also did say that they are doing this re-registration also because people who registered these firearms some years back are now using the same firearms to commit murder, commit suicide, and do other things that now they want to re-register them and check your mental capability or your mental state before giving you another license to operate a firearm.
Right, and on the traditional authority, was there a specific directive in relation to their use of firearms as well? Just briefly.
So with the traditional authorities, the upcoming festive season, he said that the firing of arms at these gatherings has also been banned, effective immediately. And they are now going to do training for people, identified individuals, before they can fire at any of these festival periods, and that anybody who is seen firing at any of the festival period will be dealt with. They are going to organize a training section for all these individuals. They'll be given a proper tag, so when they fire, everybody can identify that these who they are. They've been trained, and it's not just any random person coming to these occasions to fire, because most of the time they end up firing and they end up killing people, and they are unable to account for the guns they are even holding. And not every guns are going to be allowed even at this festival period that we are entering tomorrow now.
Right then, Armstrong, I appreciate the details. That's my colleague Joseph Armstrong Goldalogba providing a bit more details for us. We're going to stay on the subject matter of shooting incidents because 9 suspects have been arraigned before the Adenta Circuit Court in connection with the shooting incident involving former Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoa on Sunday, June 21, 2026, and during a ceremony involving her brother, Kojo Safo at Kwabenya. Among the suspects is Israel Kojo Safo, a.k.a. Akofena, who the police say reported himself to the regional police headquarters. The gunmen, said to be private security operatives, allegedly opened fire on Sarah Adwoa Safo's vehicle at one of the properties of the family located at Kwabenya on Sunday morning after she was alleged to have attempted to forcefully enter the premise with her vehicle and bang on the gate several times. My colleague Lord Idwasar is joining us with a bit more in terms of details. We'll connect with Lord right now. In terms of details, Lord is joining us right now via Zoom. I'm going to connect with Lord immediately. Lord, help us appreciate what's been happening in court. We are understanding some bail terms have been decided upon by the court as well.
Well, Marina, so let me quickly run you through the charges preferred against the 9 accused persons, including the former Dome Kwabenya MP's brother, Israel Kojo Safo. So the first count was use of offensive weapon. The second count, possession of explosive firearm and ammunition contrary to Section 192. The third being prohibition of vigilante groups and activities. Fourth being discharging guns in town. And then fifth, causing unlawful damage contrary to Section 1751A of the Criminal Offences Act. Now, after the charges was read to them, all 9 of them pleaded not guilty to the offences, and afterwards their lawyers prayed for bail for them, of course, indicating that they cannot be held in custody more than 48 hours and so on. Now, with the bail terms, it was the circuit court granted them 500,000 cedis for all of them, but then 2 to be with 2 sureties each. And then, although the sureties are not to be justified, they're supposed to fill or sign some justification forms. And so these are the details of their bail conditions as has been made available to us, Marina. In particular, you realize that the brother of Sarah Adwoa Safo, he was also part of the accused persons. What we noticed when they were coming in was that all of them became impaired, but he was the only one who was singled out and was sort of being protected by the police. Early on, there were slight confrontations here and there, obviously because we're trying to, some family members and then other enthusiasts who are around were trying to prevent the media from capturing him, and among other things. But eventually, once they pleaded not guilty, they have been granted bail. And so currently, a number of the lawyers have left, picked up that they are going to the police CID headquarters to continue with the processing of the bail conditions and other things, Marina.
Right then, Lord, just quickly, when next are they expected back in court?
So we understand that in July, I need to get the dates
right
quickly, but it's in July. The initial date was supposed to be 30th, but then the lawyers argued it out, and so it was extended from June 30th to July, I think 5th. I'll have to get the
absolutely
specific dates and I'll communicate that. And I get
absolutely, that. Lord, I appreciate those details. That's my colleague, Lord Idwasar, who's joining us via Zoom there quickly with a bit more in terms of details from the court.
Now, devastating floods and building collapses have prompted the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly in the central region to order the demolition of unsafe and unauthorized buildings and properties blocking storm drains. The nighttime demolition operations led by Cape Coast Mayor George Justice Arthur aims to remove weakened building structures across the metropolis to prevent further collapses during the rainy season. The directive follows widespread floods and a high death toll recorded in the central region after 3 days of prolonged downpour over the weekend. 18 people reportedly have lost their lives across the region. Only Cape Coast Metro alone recorded nearly 6.
internally displaced persons as a result of the 58 building collapses, as well as families of those the fatalities were recorded. So far, we have recorded 18 fatalities. 18 fatalities. Cape Coast alone has 6. 5 from building collapses, 1 from drowning incidents. These 18 fatalities are as a result of building collapses, drowning, mudslides, falling trees, and other unfortunate incidences. 18 souls have been lost, sadly. So we appeal for humanitarian support in the form of food items, maize, rice, gari beans, cooking oil, canned fish, non-food items like student mattresses, polymats, blankets, used clothing for the children, hygiene kits for adolescent girls. We are looking at building materials, roofing sheets for the raised to affected victims, roofing nails. We are also appealing for essential medical supplies, especially aqua taps for water purification, my anti-malaria medications, which are basically OTC, and then important.
We've just heard from NATMO Regional Director Emmanuel Kwesi Mensah Dawood, who's been providing an update on the number of people who have been killed as a result of the prolonged downpour in the central region. We'll now hear from Judge Justice Arthur, who's the mayor, on the same subject.
A similar problem in respect to flooding because of the heavy downpour. And we lost 3 lives because of collapsed buildings. So 3 elderly persons died as a result of that. After that, there were some dilapidated buildings that were earmarked, of which Metropolitan Assembly, headed by me, demolished all of them. You know Cape Coast very well, that most of the buildings are of age, highly dilapidated, and they have been in existence for more than 60, 70, 110 years, sometimes 120 years. Some were built in tandem with Cape Coast Castle and some monuments. So they are old. So as a result of that, when there's any downpour or heavy rainfall, it will collapse all these buildings. Now, this year, in fact, as a mayor, I took a step, a whole lot. What happened was that I wrote to the respective media houses. I called the families who have these buildings or who own these buildings. I spoke with them, and all of them agreed that we should demolish some. Some also were reluctant because of where they would have to stay.
Cape Coast Mayor Judge Justice Arthur is joining us for a bit more on this story. Mayor, good afternoon to you. I appreciate your time this afternoon. Let's start off with the number of people who have died. 18 is the number so far. Some are of the view that this dawn demolition appears to be a reactionary approach and not what may fix the floods in Cape Coast.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. It's quite unfortunate that this year too, we have actually recorded such very bad, situation in the metropolis. And for now, I can confirm to you from our outfit that we have lost about 4 lives. 12-year-old, an old girl, 20-month-old baby, 35-year-old lady, and another lady who is around 40 years.
And this is in Cape Coast alone?
Yeah, this is in Cape Coast alone. And occurred on Friday, 19th June 2026, and Sunday, 21st June 2026, respectively, as a result of the heavy downpour.
And the concern is that the plan you have now to bring down buildings and ensure that waterways are open is in reaction to the deaths that have occurred in Cape Coast. Why did you have to wait for people to die?
No, I can confirm to you that we have not relented on our efforts to fight and curb this problem, because we had this problem last year, and as a result of that, we lost 3 elderly persons. And so the assembly took it upon itself to demolish most of the old structures. And now the challenge has been that where would they stay? Where are they going to sleep? That has been the challenge. But I think that we have taken bulls by the horns by assembly. Now people are also burdened on waterways, which assembly has actually taken them on. As at now speaking, I just finished with a management meeting on what is happening in Cape Coast. And assembly is going to take robust decisions after a resolution that was made by the General Assembly to demolish most of these structures that are built on waterway, that are built on storm drains and what have you. And so we are going to take a robust decision on that. And we have also constituted a committee to go around and see what is actually happening in respect to that, so that we take short-term, medium, and long-term decisions on that.
I see, makes sense. And so you are now going to count how many buildings you are likely to bring down. What plan do you have for the people who live there? Because you mentioned that it is one of the challenges you've had over the years.
In fact, just as rightly said, Cape Coast, especially the southern part of Cape Coast, has old buildings. You know, these buildings were built in tandem with some monuments within the metropolis that now serve as tourism potential areas. And so some buildings are of age. You know, some are 120, 130 old buildings. And so we have contacted the families. Last year we did some. For now, the assembly is able to pull 6 buildings down, 6 old buildings, old structures down, and we are here to do more. And we are still in contact with the family. But the situation has to do with the father. Where are they going to stay? That has been a problem. Now we are looking forward to have, you know, some account and some committee that is going to think about resettlement, so that we will be able to pull most of them down. And the committee will yet to be outdoored by next week, Monday.
You want to adore a committee before you start the work?
No, we have already started.
So what is the outdooring for then?
We from yesterday, last 3 days and yesterday, I mean a day before yesterday and yesterday, we were able to demolish about 6 structures, about 6 of the structures, and we are continuing doing that. Those ones that are highly in dilapidated state, we can't wait for the committee to be outdoored at all. We are still working on that to demolish. But like I said, the challenge has to do with where would they stay. We are still talking to the family. Assembly is also trying to make provisions to get them other alternatives. Personally, yesterday, I have to look for about 5 hotel rooms for some other people to settle, because it will be very prudent for us to get them a place in a temporary measure or in a temporary situation than to let them be in that burden and it will collapse on them.
Mayor, are these court-ordered demolitions?
Yes, there are some you might not need court order at all because of the situation. But there are some too you will need court order. That is why the committee is officially set to actually, we have given them terms of reference to work on it. So that in an emergency situation, that one we talk to the family to agree. But there are some too we need to go in for court order to do the demolition.
Mayor, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. George Justice Arthur is Mayor of Cape Coast. We've just been looking at the flood and building collapse events that have taken place in the area, bringing to some 18 people who have died in both incidents across the central region. We'll turn attention to power now because Ghanaian consumers will pay more for electricity and water from July 1st, 2026 after the PURC approved upward adjustments in utility tariffs for the third quarter of the year. Ghanaian business, in a statement issued on Monday, June 22nd, the Commission announced that electricity tariffs would increase by 3.49% across all customer categories, while water tariffs would rise by 0.85%. Now, these adjustments form part of the Commission's quarterly review mandate, which tracks movements in key operational factors that affect utility service providers. Dr. Shafiq Suleiman is the Executive Secretary of the PURC. We'll connect with him now and learn more about why we will be paying more for electricity, especially from July 1. Doc, good afternoon to you. Now, between 2025 and 2026, electricity tariff alone have gone up by about 28.7% cumulatively. How do we explain the fact that we are going to be paying more again next month when our incomes haven't gone up?
Very much, and good afternoon to all your cherished viewers and your listeners and all cherished Ghanaian consumers. The Public Utility Regulatory Commission appreciates the issues surrounding the utility service provision and also appreciate the challenges within the sector. And as you know, we try as much as possible to balance the scale of reliable, available, and less costly power to meet the needs of the Ghanaian consumer, and as well ensure that the infrastructure that is invested or is kept in by the utility providers are also maintained and for the system to continue to provide and supply the power that is needed. So at all times, we try our best to look at that balance and to also ensure that the Ghanaian consumer is not overburdened and to keep the power constantly available and constantly reliable and at a very minimal price. And I think that's what we've been doing, and that's what has accounted for or resulted in this tariff adjustment that we are seeing currently.
I see. And I hear you on what you've just said, because the PURC has often explained tariff increases with exchange rates, inflation, fuel costs, and the generation mix. So in this particular instance, which one is the biggest pressure on electricity tariff now?
I think the exchange rate is actually the biggest, and then the fuel costs are the main drivers. But I think relatively is the exchange rates, and as we are trying our best to also work on some few existing challenges within the sector that have been outstanding for a long time, that if you don't take care immediately, the repercussions will come at you very, very soon. But largely it's the exchange rate that has seen some fluctuations that we are taking care of. Compared to the last quarter, the second quarter, the exchange rate we used and what we are using for this time, that's basically the main issues that we are trying to cut across. Well, you know, the second quarter, you remember there was a reduction of 4% across board. So, and this time around, an adjustment of 3.4% on average across board. So it's just the balancing that we are trying to do to sustain the system.
I see, Doc, and that's true. Last quarter, there was a reduction, but that's been the only reduction in a while. And people think that the PURC is too sympathetic towards the utility companies and, for consumers. you don't think about how consumers will be able to cover the cost of the increase, because already consumers have complained time without number, particularly to the regulator, that the cost of power, particularly, is too much.
So we are more sympathetic to the consumer than the utility service provider, because usually the issues that come on to be considered for the adjustment are tilted more to the disadvantage of the consumer, and we protect that interest to the highest level of standard. If you are relating that to stability, reliability, and consistency of the flow, and then even the rate of adjustment or rate of increase. And but the most important thing I keep saying is the reliability, and balancing that with the cost. And as I can assure you, more effort is kept in the reliability, because the reliability and the stability are top priority, and then the costs we are working on to ensure that it's not a burden to all of us.
Very well, Doc.
Like I said, the sympathy, yes, is geared towards more the consumer than the utility service provider.
Well, Doc, we'll end it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Dr. Shafiq Suleiman is Executive Secretary of the PURC, and Mawena looks like we'll be paying a little bit more for power. It saddens my heart.
Yeah, for a lot of people, this will not come as great news in terms of the trajectory we've been on, right? Because the major tariff adjustment we kickstarted in January of this year, and 2 quarters we saw one a reduction, one an increase, and then in the third, as well, we're seeing an increase. It begs the question. Doc mentions exchange rates and what have you, contributing greatly to it, but I should think we're still hovering around 11
Well, so
CDs.
it depends. It depends. Some are going, as far as 12. So, yeah.
So yeah, a bit difficult. But I just want to walk.
We have to start petitioning the president.
If you want to, I'm sure there'll be a lot of Ghanaians who will back you up on that score, because not a lot of people are excited about
that. Could be a lot of pressure for businesses.
Absolutely. But quickly, to seek to put this in proper perspective, right? Cumulatively, if we speak to level of increase since January of 2025, we're talking 28.7% since the year started. We saw that major tariff adjustment kickstart with us, like I mentioned, 9.8%. Then we saw a reduction of some 4.81% in April, which kickstarted the second quarter. And then we're seeing this 3.49% increase as announced by the Public Utility Regulatory Commission. In terms of water, January 1, 2026, we saw a 15.92% increase that dropped to, or it was reduced by some 3.06% in April. And water is inching up marginally. It's not even up to 1%, 0.85% in terms of what it is that we're seeing in the increases in the tariffs. And so if you're asking the questions as to what prices could look like if you're paying 100 cedis for water, well, you not see close to 1 cedi in terms of increases. But if it's electricity, then you see about 3 cedis getting towards 3 cedis 50 pesos in terms of an increment in how much it will cost you to enjoy the same amount of power as you've enjoyed in the past. It'll take us on to our very first break here on the Bulletin. When we return, we have a bit more for you here on News Central. Please stay with us.
us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us, and honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasumeni, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1.
Welcome back to News Central here on TV3. Let's take you across the regions now. Fresh cracks have emerged within the Bantama constituency branch of the NPP, with the constituency chairman accusing the Member of Parliament for the area, Francis Asenso-Boakye, of attempting to manipulate the party's register ahead of internal elections. The allegations have heightened tensions among party supporters and raised concerns about unity within one of NPP's key strongholds in the Ashanti region. For the latest on this development, I'm joined by Ibrahim Abubakar, our Shanti region correspondent. Well, now, Ibrahim, talk to us about what is at the heart of this dispute.
Well, Germany, the dispute centers on allegations made by the MPP 2020 chairman for Bantimas, that the member of parliament for the area, Francis Atwensubuache, is attempting to influence the ongoing constituency organization process by manipulating the party's register. Now, he is complaining that some names have allegedly been inserted or transferred onto the constituency register without following the appropriate procedure. And again, he also argues that such actions could compromise the credibility of the party's internal electoral processes and create an even playing field for prospective candidates and their supporters. He admits that he is aware the MP is bringing someone to contest him as chairman of the constituency. He has no problem with this, but then they should go into the election in a fair and peaceful manner so that they will all have a level playing ground to be able to compete. So he is formally raising concerns with the party's regional and national leadership and is calling for independent review of the register to ensure transparency and fairness ahead of the constituency executive election, which we are told will be held somewhere in July. Let's listen to what P.P. Mensah has been saying with regards to this issue.
Can you imagine an album that the constituency chairman, who is supposed to be leading the process, has been taken out of the process because of the MP? He has built his own group, running the whole show, and now they are taking people out. Somebody has been delegate for 16 years, 12 years. They are taking them out because of me. No, I don't understand. We must do a fair and clean album for peace to prevail in Bantam. Then we'll go for a peaceful election. Can you imagine a polling station chairman can come and put over 50 people in the album? The first vice, my vice, the contender, can put over 100 people in. And then I decide that, look, I want peace in Bantama. So be it as it may, I'm not going to fight anybody. But I bring only 19 people and you people tell me you won't put them in. Because of what? They will vote for me? Fine. Then the old delegates, right, we all sat down, agreed, built a consensus that nobody was going to touch an old delegate. Now you are taking them out because you think they will vote for Fifi. Why should I keep quiet and watch the people who have suffered for the party all these years to be treated that way? I won't keep quiet. You have openly said you will campaign against me. I said, I don't care. Come and campaign. You are the former minister, you are the MP. Let everybody do his campaign fairly. We go for the election, whoever wins, wins. But when you want to manipulate the system, take people out because of me, I will disagree.
Well, I lost Ibrahim there on that story, but thank you so much for reporting this afternoon. More on this story in later broadcasts. Right now, however, in the face of the growing challenges that confront Ghana's cocoa production in the traditional cocoa growing areas, the Volta and Oti regions are being positioned to become the new frontiers to shore up the country's output. Stakeholders in the two regions are calling for public-private sector partnerships to ensure a sustainable production that will not only increase productivity, but also provides jobs. More in the following report.
Production in the last few years has seen a significant decline, with national output dropping from 1 million metric tons to as low as 531,000 tons in the 2023-2024 season, before moving upwards to an estimated 700,000 tons. Despite this marginal increase, concerns have risen, with a downturn attributed to a combination of climate change, pests and disease, and most especially the rampant galamsey menace in the cocoa growing regions. In light of this, stakeholders are advocating for a shift to places like the Volta and Oti regions to shore up the country's production.
And apologies for the poor quality of the intake there. And the 1-0 victory over Panama has given Ghanaians a reason to dream big, and the Black Stars now face their biggest test yet against football powerhouse England. Across the country, confidence is growing, even though others doubt. Supporters are weighing Ghana's chances and predicting whether the Black Stars can produce another memorable World Cup moment. But can Ghana build on its winning start and stand one of the tournament favorites? Christabel Success Treve hit the streets to find out.
If excitement could score goals, Ghana would already be ahead. Now, hours before the Black Stars face England at this World Cup, expectations among fans have reached fever pitch. England may be on a stronger team or have very strong pedigree, but Ghana's backing of Carlos Queiroz's men could shape the group standings. We ask supporters one simple question: can Ghana beat England? Come, let's find out. But who said energy in a high? What predictions are you saying?
2-1
against
England.
I'm in for 2-0 in favor of Ghana.
2-0.
2-0. Ghana is winning 2-0.
A lot of people are saying that England, we can't take them on. What's your take on that?
We want to let them know that they were our colonial masters before, but we have been out of their jurisdiction. So we want to take over the fact that we are now their colonial masters. Okay. So we are scoring 2-0.
That 2-0, which players are scoring those goals?
I'm tipping Semenyo to be on the score sheet, and as far as Thomas Wate is on the lineup today, expecting him to provide some telepathic passing to maybe Inaki. If Inaki is on the lineup, he's likely to also be on the score sheet.
2-0 you say for England, but tell us for Ghana, but beyond this England match, how far do you think the Black Stars can go?
Well, if you top our group, we are likely to meet the second team of Portugal group. Okay. So we are likely to go past the round of 16. Okay. And quarter-final should be our list. But should we meet Portugal? Should we meet Portugal in the round of 16? I'm afraid. Okay. But of course, if you don't meet Portugal, quarter-final should be our list.
Today, Ghana will score 2-0. Ghana will score 2-0. Okay. That's my only belief I have today.
So you believe that Ghana can score 2-0 against England?
Yes, 2-0 against England. No, nothing can change.
A lot of people are scared and saying, Charlie, England has...
No. Okay. We pray for it. And Ghana will score.
In studio, Mutala Yakubu with 3 Sports in studio with me, and so we'll be live in Boston as well, where Rick Wampofo is stationed as well, to get a sense of what the team is looking like. But Mutala, let's start off here in the studio as to what our chances are. It's a huge test. Ranked number 4, they've got an array of stars who can come at us through all angles.
Well, if you're being fair, the gulf in quality between Ghana and England is huge. This is not the Ghana of old. And England are enjoying some quality players at the moment. But our chances, we can take solace from the fact that some big teams have drawn games, and countries that we did not expect to even get points have gotten points. Like Cape Verde, it could be a motivation for us.
Iran,
and with the kind of coach that Carlos Queiroz is, he would need to be a bit conservative to ensure that we don't open up too much. And I mean, with Thomas Tuchel, the England national team coach, he has said that he has assessed Ghana, and he feels that the Black Stars will be happy to let their opponents have the ball. That is how we play. If we repeat that first 45 minutes against Panama, then we are doomed. There needs to be an improved performance on what we saw against Panama. Keep it tight and hope for one opportunity. That's what it takes to break down a side like England. But it's going to be an extremely difficult game for us.
I've been looking at analysis being done by English media and what have you. Yes, you mentioned the golf inequality that we do not have. How do we win a possible game like this? I know I've been hearing fans who are very excited, but in terms of being realistic, how do we win?
How do we win?
A game like
it looks like Carlos Queiroz has already laid the blueprint of how we are going to win this game. We need to be up there in terms of our mentality. Concentration should be 90 plus whatever the referee would add, and the organization. We should never lose our organization. Once we lose our shape, England will punish us because they have players who can find spaces. Like Harry Kane, for instance, he's metamorphosed from a player who scores just goals to a playmaker. Now, what he does is he creates a lot of space, allows the likes of Jude Bellingham to be playing as a number 9. So, I mean, if we lose our organization and shape, that is what will be punished. We need to keep it tight and the concentration level from minute 1 until the referee blows the whistle that the game is over. These players need to put that at the back of their minds that they are coming up against one of the best teams.
Pampofu is joining us via Zoom. He's in Boston right now for us. Oreku, you've been with the team. You've caught a sense as to what preparation has been like in the lead up to the game. Can you help us appreciate what team spirit is like ahead of this very crucial game?
Well, I think it's a really huge game, and for Carlos Queiroz in his press conference yesterday, that's matchday -1 on Monday, he did state that he loves playing against countries like France, Spain, England, Germany, because it makes his job simpler, and that's the fact that he says he doesn't need to encourage these players to put up their best because every player wants to play the big games. Every player turns up in these moments. However, what his role is for such a game is to make sure that he manages the level of enthusiasm. You do not want your players to be too excited and end up giving away too many fouls, end up picking yellow cards and, moving out to the press and not following instructions. And so he's saying that going into this game is all about managing the enthusiasm of the team, managing the expectations, making sure that you're sticking to the game plan and remaining compact. We spoke to 3 players who were handed to the media before training on Monday, and those were Thomas Partey, Jordan Ayew, and then Gideon Mensah. All 3 of them.
Are we to expect any changes? Concerns and questions about fitness for Atizigi. Initially, the suggestion was that he'd been ruled out for a groin injury, but we understand he's been training. Do we change our lineup as we face England today? Have you got any sense as to how that plays out?
Well, from what we saw at training, Atizigi came out for training right from the onset. He was involved in the early warm-up, was good with his kicking. He was doing dives to his left and right, quick ones. He looked okay, doing everything that the other 3 goalkeepers were doing. And in fact, before we were moved out of the training session, because, we have just 15 minutes, they started a drill where they were crossing and you had to come out and claim. Remember, that was how Atizigi picked up.
A bit more from you in the course of today. But Mutala, I'm going to wrap up just pretty quickly with you as to the game today. It's live on TV3. What time are we starting pre-game analysis and all of that?
6 p.m. and we'll be crossing over to other parts of Ghana to gauge the mood of Ghanaians ahead of the game. We'll go back to Boston because by then we would have a clear idea of which team would be starting. Live on TV3, a lot of excitement as well.
Mutala is my colleague with 3 Sports. That'll take us for final break. We'll return and then take the show home. Stay with us.
Is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate, security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
Hope so.
Well, that's our show for you today. I'm going to take predictions quickly. From
No,
like
I don't have some today.
No, I mean, you give us
I don't
one.
have some today. I think it's going to be a rather tough time for the Black
And we
Stars.
might likely lose.
I hope that we draw so that we can, comfortably do the rest.
Right.
In the least, like worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario. I
draw.
hope that we draw.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to it. It's at 8 p.m. here on TV3. We'll get you all the details. I am Mawina Igbeta.
And I am Kemini Amano. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.